Hello and welcome to the Gyan Chakra Dialogues. Now, Gyan Chakra Think Tank is a Chandigarh based platform that focuses on national and regional security, on geopolitical global affairs, and defense technology. It was raised in 2016 by Western Command of the Indian Army, but full disclosure, it's a completely independent entity, and anything that is expressed on the platform does not have any official sanction. The views are those of the individuals who participate. And as a matter of fact, we don't source any official or classified documents in what we say. Today is the first of these dialogues, and it's a very interesting topic, the geopolitical imperatives facing the new government, which has just been sworn in. To be in conversation with me is a leading veteran thinker, Lieutenant General P.R. Shankar, PVSM, AVSM, VSM. He used to be at once upon a time my boss for a while. That's not his main qualification. As a matter of fact, he has had an amazing professional upbringing from National Defense Academy to being an alumnus of the Institute of Army Technology, Girinagar, the Defense Services Staff College, Wellington, the Army Corps War College in Mao, the Naval Postgraduate School in Monterey, California, lovely place, and National Defense College in New Delhi. He holds an MSc and two MPhil degrees, and of course, he's got a vast operational experience, including in counterinsurgency operations. Well, the story doesn't quite end there. General Shankar is now a professor in the Aerospace Department of the Indian Institute of Technology, Madras. He's actively involved in applied research of the cutting edge defense technologies. He's also an independent member of the L&T Defense Board, and he's associated with the development of the Tamil Nadu Defense Corridor. He's a prolific writer, and he writes on strategic affairs, defense planning, and defense technology. Another thing I want to highlight about him is that he is founded an amazing platform called the Gunner Shot, www.gunnershot.com. It has a YouTube channel which is followed by thousands of people. Could be the envy of just about anybody. And I'm going to leave the links of both of those just above the comments after the video. And I would suggest and encourage you to go visit them. With this, I'm going to turn to Lieutenant General P.R. Shankar. Here are Gyan Chakra, and to take his views on a very important topic, that is geopolitical imperatives that are facing the new government. Now, we all know that the new government has just been sworn in, and it has, as expected, hit the road running. Many of the analysts are describing it as continuity, but with some change. Now, as far as the defense and foreign affairs is concerned, at the ministerial level, there is no change. But I'm sure as the things unravel, as we go forward, we will see some changes. But let's look at the geopolitical state afresh. And may I ask you, what are the current geopolitical trends internationally, and what is their effect on India?
Thanks a lot, General Bali, for inviting me over to the show, the inaugural show of Gyan Chakra. I wish it well. And, I must tell everyone that General Bali, I was his boss at a point of time, but long before that, we were friends because we did the staff college together. And then we were youngsters who were growing up together. And as we grew up, it's only a matter of, seniority, juniority, that I was his boss at a point of time. That's all. But then I'm very glad that the Western Command has started this process of thinking and publishing their views at scale. Then Bali spoke of continuity. I don't know how many of you realize in continuity there's a new. So it's not only a matter of continuity, there's something new always happening. Now, what are the geopolitical trends which India has to be cognizant of? That's something which we need to understand. The old thing that the East is rising and the West is decline is off. China's rise is, old story. The thing which has happened and which is probably has not happened in the past 1 century or in this century at least, and things are happening at unprecedented scale, is that we are seeing two competitive global orders coming into being. That's the first major trend, which we see of late. You have the established uh, Western global order backed, I wouldn't say by USA, Japan, Australia, and Europe largely, and other affluent countries. Today, the trend line is that China and Russia, with their no limits partnership and no forbidden area partnership, are trying to establish an alternate global area order. And with them actively are countries like Iran and North Korea. And they're wooing the global south, the East Asian neighbors, and a whole lot of East European countries to come into the order, along with the Central Asian countries. And they're using platforms like the BRICS and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization to propagate this order. And of course, we of late seen that they're trying to propagate an alternate reserve currency in the form of yuan. So the world is being forced into choices. And these choices we never had to exercise, from the time the Soviet Union collapsed. And so this is something which is going to impact India and big way. I think this is the major trend line we're going to see. The second trend line, which I thought I'll put across to you, is that we have returned to the era of prolonged wars. And prolonged wars, these wars are not necessary to be between states. And these wars, like, the Hamas and Israel war, is largely between a state and a non-state actor. And non-state actors are increasingly getting involved with conventional wars, if I might say. And along with this, there are indications that terror is on the rise again. And if you see the sub-Saharan Africa and the coup zone, as they say, the violence levels have gone up and terrorist organizations are ruling. And the dangerous element in this is there is an ideological dominance which is coming forth. And this ideological dominance has two strains. The first strain is the Islamist ideology, fundamentalist ideology, which is coming out from largely the Muslim world. And then the hardcore communist ideology, which China is propagating. So these wars are going to be, underpinned by this ideology, and we're going to have issues to have a look at it. The third trend is the great technology contestation which is going on. New technologies, we call it cyber, electric vehicles, solar energy, and space, digital. This trend, semiconductors. There's a race for dominance of the global markets, and through that, I think there's a new kind of an economy which is going to roll out. The old brick and mortar economy is going out. A tech-dominated economy is coming, and there is a visible contestation between China and USA on that. And I wouldn't leave other developed countries out of it. And here again, they're going to follow the two orders which are emerging, because Russia is another technology powerhouse which you can never count out. In fact, in many cases, Russia is ahead of many other countries, including USA and China in certain fields. The fourth trend line, and this might sound a little, different from what normally you hear, is the rise of India. Let's not make no mistake, India is rising. And when a country of 1.4 billion people rise, they have their say and they have their cadence in the world. It might not, it's maybe counterintuitive to guess how it will go. But the fact is, India is going to rise at its own pace, and there's no reversal on this. And the simple reason I say this is it's the people of India who matter, and it's the people who are driving it. And we are just going back to our own culture and our own history as we rise. So this is going to change a lot because as our rise increases, our geopolitical sphere will also increase. And our geopolitical sphere is definitely going to span the Indian Ocean. And already there are indications that we've gone the other side into the Western Pacific with our relationships with Philippines, Vietnam, Japan, and we've started to do something with Taiwan, if people have not noticed. So I think the rise of India, and everyone is jostling to be friends with India. In fact, if I might say, just today I saw an article in China Mill, that is the PLA Daily, where they say if USA thinks that India is going to be its pawn, they're mistaken. And they're wooing us. Even China is wooing us. So something which we have to realize that India is a power to stay. Today, your GDP might not be that much. We're still a poor country, but this is going to change. The next trend, which I think is very important, is the global energy situation. The traditional fossil fuels, they have a time. And their time is coming where you might not have fossil fuels in maybe half a century or more, and we need alternates. And you want more technology, you need more energy. So where do you get this energy from? Do you get it only from solar systems? You get it from hydrogen, green hydrogen, or you go the fusion route? There are three clear routes which are emerging. And my guess is that all three routes are required. And ultimately, fusion is the future. But for fusion, you need space. You need to go to Mars. You need to go to Moon. And that's why all this race to space is important. And in my opinion, the countries which can conquer space or rather expand into space will be the next superpowers. And if I can count amongst this, it is USA without doubt, China, Russia, and India, who have meaningful space programs. Along, of course, the European zone and Japanese are also there. Don't count them out. But the four major players in space are what I've said. Then there's the issue of global south. The global south is coagulating and coalescing into a voice of its own. And, people are, all the geopolitical players are going towards the global south. So that is going to play itself out. And the last trend line which I want to speak is climate change.
Yes.
As climate change happens, and we see this year we've had tremendously hot atmospheres
And
all over the country.
you're in Chennai, and you could have always said that you had a tremendously hot summer. But we sitting in the north and traveling elsewhere have also felt the heat.
Yeah. So these trend lines are going to impact India. And, and we've just gone through a major election. And the new government has to set its priorities right. Already, there are indications as to which direction the government is going to take. If you see the tweets which have come for the new prime minister, not new, in his new term, so far Xi Jinping has not even congratulated him. The congratulations from Canada are conditional, and the reply back is also conditional, if I may say, right? And one from the official one from Pakistan has been dry, and the reply has been equally dry. But the message from Nawaz Sharif came
Sharif, I
with
saw
a lot
that.
of
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And but the reply is also conditional from us. So the strategic direction of India is also very clear in this. I thought these were the things. And if you have any questions, you could ask.
This is really eminently insightful, sir. each one of them, and I've really heard you with rapt attention. I think just to make a couple of quick points, the Chinese may be sulking because we've had greetings from Taiwan, and I think we have replied to that. So maybe that is one of the reasons why. And I think we are. So this is also an indication of what people like you and I have seen over the last 5 decades. The country increasingly becoming confident of itself, particularly in the last few years, which is a measure of our economy, our measure of our foreign policy, the way we look at the rest of the world. And I think that is reflecting in the way we deal with everyone. I just want to go back to your first trend line and pick your brains on this one. This is about the global order that is emerging between the Western Bloc and the Chinese Russian axis, call it what you may. Uh, I think Ukraine war threw up one example where we navigated through this quite well. We have been able to deal with both sides with confidence, looking after our national interest. Do you think more of the same, or do you think us moving in one particular direction, or do you think we're going back to those antiseptic, non-aligned days? How do you see this?
The antiseptic non-aligned days are over. Let's be very clear about it.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to understand that we are the rising power, and we are a power on our own merit in the Indian Ocean region. And we occupy, by our geography, one of the best locations here, right? Uh, and we have a strong military, we have a strong economy, you have a growing population, and increasingly a tech-savvy population, right? So with all this, you are a power in your own right. So what do you say matters? That's the first point. Now, if you look at it in the global balance, we are still friends with Russia, and that's not going to go away. We have a great strategic partnership which is on the upswing with USA, and both these partnerships have an upward trajectory. Our trajectory with China is the one at question, right? And I don't see it changing in a hurry. And we will always be at loggerheads with China and Pakistan. When we are born with these two bad neighbors. So in this kind of a context, you can't be non-aligned, right?
Yes.
So you will be aligned based on the condition,
Right.
right?
Right.
Your alignment will be conditional to circumstances. Okay, there will be times when Russia will need us as a hedge against China, and we'll need Russia against the hedge against China. It's both ways, right? There are many times where the USA will need India to communicate with Russia, and it did, during the Ukraine war. So there are subtexts to this entire story, and then
Right.
our traditional links with the global South, the soft linkages with the global South. So and many in the global South today look to India because they trust India. So to that extent, it's no more a matter of being non-aligned. My view is that we are now a strategic balancer. We have come from being a swing state, we have now transited into being a state which balances power. And this ability to balance will have to be fine-tuned as we go along.
Right. You mentioned the quality of neighbors we have. In particular, I'm sure you're referring to the two we know we're talking about. So we, like everyone else, you cannot choose your neighbors. You have to live with them. What is your take on what are the macro trends, or what is should be our approach vis-a-vis Pakistan and vis-a-vis China in the years to come?
Look, when we talk of our neighbors, we can talk of our neighbors in two terms. One is Pakistan, China, as you said. One is the others. So let's take Pakistan and China. My view is this relationship is not going to change in a hurry, at least for the next decade. We're not going to solve our problems with China and Pakistan. And as our uh, status changes as a power, as we rise, the problem with China will only increase because earlier China and India could coexist. We were not neighbors in the true sense. We had Tibet in between. But now with a border across which we stare, eyeball to eyeball contact in many places, the infrastructure on their side and our side increasing, troops will get into contact with each other. So that's a friction point. You can't. And then China knows that it can't be a dominant player in Asia if India exists. And so it's a matter of two swords in the same scabbard like Asia. So there's that contestation will go on. And as China tries to enter the Indian Ocean, we're going to have problems there. I mean, we have to do something to counter that.
Right.
Pakistan is going to go down the chute slowly. As it is, it's down the chute. I don't see a reversal. But two simple reasons. It's not military. One is their population is going unchecked, and second is they're getting into a state of absolute water scarcity. Right, and it's an agriculturally dependent state where 25% of the GDP is agriculture, and that's going to go down. When that's going to go down, there are going to be issues in Pakistan. Pakistan can't revive economically. And I'm making this statement very clearly. It cannot revive economically. So if it cannot revive economically, it will only live from loan to loan. And it's
Right.
only the military which can be dominant. So we're going to have a cancerous neighbor next to us who will always be at odds with a growing India. Right? It's a matter of people to people. It's not a military to military confrontation. The way the Pakistani people look at us, right, see a prosperous India, that itself will give us problems. So we're going to have problems. We've so far spoken of a collusive threat or a collusion between Pakistan and China. I think hereafter we're going to see more of a collaborative threat or a collaboration between Pakistan and China than collusion. Why I say this is collusion has got tones of a military, more of a military overtone, whereas collaboration is more wide-ranging and is not confined to military alone, and it's not so offensive by design, right? So I think the military part of this collaboration is going to reduce. The non-military issues and the multi-dimensional way things are going is something we have to deal with. And we're going to
Right.
have to deal with this for a long time to come.
Right, sir. In fact, on a funny note, I was just thinking that Pakistan, part of me feels bad that they are in such a terrible shape. I wish they had won at least a cricket match in the ongoing series, not against us, of course. And that might have cheered them up, but even that's gone down the tube.
No, but
Uh,
now that you made this point, I must make a point. You see, the way a nation performs in sports is reflective of the internal state of the nation. If you look at it, a few years back, India didn't perform well in sports because we couldn't afford that and we didn't have that as a career and things like that. Today, it's not only in cricket, you find people winning medals, you find people being grandmasters at 16, 17 in chess and things like that. So, sports, doing well in sports is a reflection of your national growth. Where, in Pakistan, which was once a tremendously good side, is now going down. It's more, we had to look at it beyond the cricket match.
yeah, yeah. So it's the shoulders are drooping on the field as they are off the field,
Yeah.
geographically. Sir, I'm going to ask you one more question, and then I'm going to do a very short rapid fire, just a couple of questions. My next question is to do with an issue with which we have been engaged right from the day we became free. That is our internal security. Most countries are, but in our case, the issue has been fairly intractable. We've had stuff in the northeast, we've had in Kashmir, we've had in Punjab. We've just gone on and on. Things have simmered down quite a lot, but still it is there. What are your views on what is the dynamics of internal security? Which direction do you think we should be looking at very carefully now?
Look, I thought for a long time, over a long period of time, we managed to color our internal security issues. When we had big governments especially at the turn of the century and the last century, we had a lot of problems. All of us, both of us have served in
Yes.
so many CI areas in Kashmir and Northeast, and we had a lot of issues. I thought over the past 20 years, we have, gone past that stage. The Northeast had calmed down. Uh, Post article abrogation of Article 370, even Jammu and Kashmir was coming into grips. Punjab was completely back to normal. But this election, which has happened recently, has thrown up a few questions. It's thrown up a few questions in Manipur. It's thrown up a few questions in Jammu and Kashmir and also Ladakh and also in Punjab. And I think we need to be cognizant of the fact that there's no point in saying that, look, everything is well, everything will get well if the politics is okay. I don't think the politics are okay, right? And if the politics of this handling these issues don't go well, the armed forces might have to step back into this area. So today, as we speak, if we want our rise, a continued rise, is largely contingent on how we can handle these internal matters. That the third front of the internal thing, the left wing extremism, probably has died out to a large extent. But our rimlands, Punjab, J&K, Ladakh on the western area, and Nagaland, Mizoram, Manipur,
Manipur.
these three, right? We have internal issues there, plus the external issue of Myanmar and drugs,
Right.
because drugs have made a huge comeback there. So I think this is one issue we have to be very careful of. If
Right.
there's a major challenge I see coming on the horizon, it is this. And that is exemplified by the fact that recently we had this attack at Riyasi,
Yes.
which the kind which you never had for quite some time now. Is this a new trend? Is something we
Yes.
have to focus on.
That's right, sir. It's absolutely been most fascinating for me to hear you talk on all these issues. I'm going to ask you three quick questions. They are very unfair questions because you're an expert. You're not into crystal ball gazing and making predictions of numbers and stuff like that. Uh, First is about the ongoing Ukraine-Russia war. Uh, some people, one of them, believe that we are looking at some sort of an end game with Ukraine gradually, not doing as well as it would have. What's your very short answer to the question? Do you think it's Russia which is likely to win in a short period of time? Is Ukraine which might fold up, or is it just stalemate which just goes on and on?
This will go on because this Ukraine war didn't start in 2022 as many people believe. It started in
Yes,
2014,
right,
right? This will
right.
go on. And the latest trends from the Europe, the EU elections, all states are swinging far right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the far right has two constituents. The first constituent is on immigration. The second
Yes.
constituent is confronting Russia. So you will see a resurgence of militarism in Europe. If that happens, I don't think this uh,
This can
war,
end soon.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not going to end. It'll simmer for a long time to come.
Okay. Second, we go to the Hamas Israel issue. The UN Security Council yesterday passed a US sponsored bill calling for a ceasefire. And I think a little disingenuously, they said it is Hamas which has to agree to the ceasefire. Nothing has been heard after that. Do you think the strategy that Israel has adopted is likely to lead to the results that they're looking for of finishing Hamas? Or do you see this also another thing which will go on as a slogging match for a long time?
First, I don't think Israel's strategy has been correct. It's been flawed from day one.
That's
Okay,
right.
they
I would
didn't
agree with
have to they didn't have to inflict so many casualties. By inflicting so many casualties, they've lost the sympathy of the world.
you.
But let me step back and we answer this in a slightly different manner. if you look at it, both for Israel and Hamas and the Palestinians, this has almost become an existential battle,
Right.
right? And they can't let go of each other. And there is no victors in this. There are no victors. The second thing is, as much as the Arab states talk about it, they're doing nothing about it.
Yes.
They're not interested in this anymore. Maybe for the first 2, 3, 4 months they were interested. Now you don't see them even coming forward to say, let's have peace.
Right.
To the extent, I think Iran has also pulled back.
Yeah, the
So,
last exchanges that Iran and US had, correction, Israel and
Israel.
had, it was very clear that it was just a show of strength. Nobody really wanted to hurt each other and, start a
So this
conflagration.
is got this is the whether the violence will go down or not, I don't know, but this problem is not going to go away.
Okay. The third and the last question is probably would sound the most light-hearted of all and would have a one-word or two-word answer. In the coming elections, Donald Trump or Joe Biden? Who's going to win?
Really, I don't know. but
Okay,
but
that's a good answer. That's also a good answer.
right, but what I would say is that, I mean, it's a matter of for us to think. A huge democracy like USA, right, doesn't have better alternatives than 280-year plus people fighting it away, right?
Yep.
And their leadership at every point, and I've gone back into the history of US leadership. I've been thinking of it. They never had worse leadership than now. And at that point of time when unprecedented challenges are cropping up in the globe, as we just discussed, so that isn't good for anyone. It doesn't
Right.
matter who, it's not going to be good for anyone.
I, I would agree there. Sir, thank you so very much. It's been most wonderful. I'm so delighted that you were the first guest in this series. I said this in the introduction that I would encourage everyone who's listening to go down to the Gunner Shot as well. I'm going to leave the link to the Gunner Shot, the YouTube channel, just above the comments after the video. And I think you would find a wealth of information, views, perceptions, insights on that channel as well. And of course, we are the new kid in the town, so do subscribe to this channel. We promise to bring you a lot of good content, a lot of good views of experienced people. Of course, it's always free, and we'll also always keep it short and hopefully a little light. So, thank you, sir.
May I,
Very-
no, may
Yes.
I, before you
Yes.
finish, all those who are viewing this episode, please subscribe to Gyan Chakra. And I'm very happy that, Western Command has instituted this, channel and this, channel of communication where strategic affairs are going to be disseminated to all of us. Uh, I, I can't say any more than that. And wish Western Command and Gyan Chakra the very best. And to my personal friend, Major General Neeraj Bali, anytime gunner shot can be of any help to you, it's there.
Thank you so very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, and Jai Hind.